Hi guys, welcome to Facebook Live. I'm your host, Rose, and this is...
I'm your host, Lauren. Welcome, guys.
Today we're going to be going over how to make and meet your goals, especially before the end of this year. There's still time. But before we jump in, Lauren, do you want to just say a couple of do's and don'ts before we get started?
Of course. So a goal of you guys watching today should be to like, comment, share. We want to hear your questions and we want to hear from you, especially if you guys have any good tips on how to make or meet your goals. Please share those in the comments below, but don't share any personal information because we don't want that to be public. So if you do have any questions about your program or your account, either send us a direct message or give us a call at Student Services at 1-888-427-1000. If you're not a student yet, but one of your goals is to become one, you can call admissions at 1-888-427-6500.
Awesome. Yeah, so 2020 started, my goodness, what are we? We're in the 11th month. So here we are 11 months later, but we're still in this year. And sure, this is a complicated year, definitely. But there is 6 weeks left. There are 6 weeks left. And that's 6 weeks to take advantage of this year to get some goals finished, especially if you had things derailed because of obvious circumstances that we're all going through together, like the global pandemic. So today we're just going to be talking about how to check off a couple things from that list that you set in 2020 and feel a little bit better. So Lauren, question for you. What is a goal that you would like to achieve before the end of 2020?
Well, I think with everything that went on in 2020, it is important, this was a really hard year, and I think that's important to acknowledge. But I think, too, it was still a year in all of our lives. Mm-hmm. And it's important to find the good in that. So something good that happened to me this year was I got engaged. So I want to try to find a wedding dress by the end of the year.
Oh, that's so fun. Yeah. That's an awesome goal. There has been some good news in the pandemic. I have noticed a bunch of people getting engaged and having, baby announcements and lots of fun family stuff, which is, I think, one of the perks to spending more time to yourself and not running around so much. So it does kind of slow you down. I mean, of course, it depends on what you do. I know essential workers are running around more than ever. And of course, we're super appreciative for all of your work. One of my goals for the end of the year, which was sort of my goal in the beginning of 2020, but now that, we are a little bit more sequestered, trying to figure out some kind of healthy routine while I'm home, because I think that's extremely tricky to do. That's because home is like where your couch is, home is where your bed is, home is where like your snacks are. So
all the snacks.
Yeah. And being home just makes it really tricky to like be around all those little comforts instead of like going out and, being distracted and, running around from point A to point B. So before the end of 2020, I want to make sure that I come up with I do have a good routine. I just haven't really fit in like a decent amount of exercise and staying motivated in my space outside of work and school. I find like those moments that should be for me, I'm like really vegging out instead of being more active like I used to be. So that is a major goal of mine, is how to fit in a little bit more healthy meals instead of cookies, because cookies are just so good at home. Like
they're so good at home.
Cookies and milk, hang out on your couch, watch some TV, and change that into, having like a really nutritious meal and going for evening walks. So I do want to get something set for that. And that is a goal I'm going to accomplish, and I will check in with you guys before the end of the year. And Lauren, I hope you find a dress, and I hope we get to see it, but I know that you're going to be secretive about it.
I will be secretive about it. But
unveiling.
Yeah, I think too, like the thing with 2020 is like this year is so not normal. Like I think all of us changed our eating habits, our routines, the way we work, the way we learn. Like every single thing seems to be different. So even if you're looking for goal ideas, maybe a goal for you could be getting something, if you were doing something well before the pandemic, like eating healthy or exercising, like getting back on track with something like that, because this year has just been, I think we all needed to give ourselves a break this year for sure. But as we go into 2020, I think it's time to re-up the energy a little bit. So that's a good goal to keep in mind.
I think so too. And it's always good to be hopeful, but it's always good to realize that even though we are on pause, we have not hit stop. So
Yeah.
it's important to, keep your mind on the prize, and this too shall pass. And I know the next few weeks are going to be tricky. We have the holidays coming up, but it really is a good time to keep yourself energized. It's also, this is a little real talk. This is a very difficult time of year for a lot of people. The holidays are really hard, and it's easy to get depressed this time of year. It's a little bit less sun, and especially in a pandemic, not being able to go out as much. It's very important to have some goals and to check some things off your list. And, it helps your confidence. It makes you feel like you're moving in a positive direction. And that's really important for mental health. So even if you can come up with just a couple of little things that you can think of that would make you feel like you're accomplishing something. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be, I'm going to finish my program by the end of the year. If you do, that's incredible. But it could just be, I'm going to finish, I want to get 4 exams done by the end of the year, or, I want to make one meal of the day extra nutritious, or whatever it is. Just try to come up with a short list of goals for you.
So, Rose, once you have these goals or a big goal, we only are a few weeks away to the end of the year, which is insane that it's already mid-November. But what are some tips you have to stay on track to successfully reach your goals?
Well, I think it's realistic to look at your timeline. So we do have 6 weeks left until the end of the year. That is not a huge amount of time. You have at least a minimum of, 2 major holidays. And even if they aren't ones that you celebrate, a lot of companies celebrate them, and things tend to get a little disruptive in those times. So it's, I think, important to look at how much time do you really have? So you have 6 weeks. Cut out 2 weeks, because you should give yourself at least 2 solid weeks to enjoy some holidays. Maybe even a little tiny bit more than that. So let's say we're looking at 3 weeks that you can really plan some stuff in, as far as if you're working on your program. Try to carve out a little bit of time each day and see how you can really amplify the time that you have, so that when you do have these holidays, you can just focus on the holiday. So you're not like trying to squeeze in whatever kind of goals you want. I mean, if you are doing any kind of fitness goals, you probably want to, stick with it a little bit, because the holidays are tricky. But if you're doing anything like, your program, look at the time that you have that doesn't have anything to do with the holidays. Get out your calendar, get out a scheduler, really carve away time that is going to be best used for school, so that you can save extra time for the holidays. And then, by the end of the year, you're going to have a lot accomplished. I think a big part of reaching your goals is just looking at a calendar and scheduling time for real, being realistic with yourself. If you're someone who's not going to want to curl up with a book on Christmas morning, then, don't schedule an exam or study time on Christmas morning. If you're someone who's good at carving out time every single day, and you work better that way, instead of like, maybe like 2 or 3 days of extra studying before a holiday, then if you know yourself and you know those habits, just schedule it. Just have it scheduled, set alerts on your phone, stay on track. The good thing about 6-week timeline is that it is kind of a short timeline. So it is so attainable. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So keep your goals small, look at your calendar, keep your a daily, have a daily schedule of like, this is what I want to get done today. I'm going to set this time aside for me today, or whatever it is, just so that by the time you get to the end of this year, you have a few things that you can check off your list. That's
those are really good pieces of advice. I like one thing you said about making kind of like an agenda of all the things that you have to get done and making a list. Because I think one thing I've found this year is like being home more often and having less things that I'm doing, I kind of have gotten into like slumps where I don't want to do anything except for watch TV because there's no like momentum of, oh my gosh, I have so much to do, or like I have so much going on. So it's easy to just not do anything at all. So I think, you know, peppering in your school goals with any like family goals, with any work goals or finding a job goals, and then even like fun stuff. Like if you, like this year has been a hard year, like make Christmas gifts for people or holiday gifts, whatever you celebrate. And doing crafts could be like a fun goal to pepper in there too. So giving yourself a couple of things to do, just like keep your mind active and stay kind of motivated and focused as best you can, could be a good way to make sure that you're not just pushing it all off, which is, let's be real, just really easy to do this year.
It is.
I think it could be good to start to get back on track towards getting motivated and getting in a good rhythm of accomplishing things.
So what's your favorite way to stay on track then, Lauren?
I, even if something doesn't have a deadline, I have to give myself a deadline. So, I need to know, like, I'm working towards something in a set time frame. And then maybe there's like a reward at the end of it. So if I'm like, oh, if I get this done today and I really push myself to finish this project, then tomorrow I can just relax all night and I won't have anything to do. And that is like kind of going back on what I said before about like not just taking too much time to chill, but it's important to have that as a reward, I think. So it'll motivate me to get my work done so that I could be a little bit lazy.
And 6 weeks is an awesome timeline.
Yeah.
There is a fun thing that we all have to look forward to, which is a new year. I think everyone's, but you might as well make the most of it while you are in 2020 and try to jumpstart 2021 with getting some of the goals done that you had set for yourself, or at least, at the very least, just getting back on track.
Absolutely. So we have a couple weeks left of 2020. Then we're heading into talking about New Year's resolutions, the new year, our goals for 2021. So with a lot of that, I think some flexibility could be good. And when you want to achieve which goal, and how can like the flexibility of our programs, or like doing it when you can fit it in, like how can that, Rose, help you achieve your overall goals?
Well, I think that the flexibility of our programs makes life just so much easier in a lot of ways. I mean, I would say the only downside to our programs is that they're so flexible that you do have to be responsible for scheduling out some time to learn. But our programs make it easy for you to reach a couple goals by the end of the year. And we do have some pretty short programs. We have like the Career Readiness Bootcamp that you could literally enroll for today and have done by 2020. Our payment plans are super flexible. Our study plan, everything is made to be incredibly flexible. So if you did want to either jumpstart 2021 and get started on a program now, so you feel like say one of your goals was like, I wanted to start school in 2020 and then everything got derailed, you might be feeling like I still shouldn't because of, everything seems a little bit up in the air. Like, is this something I want to commit to? The way that our school is designed for people who are in situations where things are up in the air and they can still make goals happen. So we have 0% interest on our payment plans. Our monthly payment plans are like, everything is kept as inexpensive as we can possibly keep it. Since 1890, that has been our goal, to make education super, super accessible. And then once you become a student, and I know a lot of you are, but if you're thinking about it, you get to study whenever it suits you. So if you're the kind of person that likes to study at 2 a.m., study at 2 a.m., take a test at 2 a.m. It's completely up to you. There aren't any deadlines for, you have to have an exam done on this particular day. You set when you want to take your exams. It's really just 100% designed so that people can reach their goals and in whatever time frame they want to reach them. So I think that if something that you wanted to do was to finish a program by the end of the year, that you could take the bull by the horns and try to get more done, or if you wanted to start a program this year and you didn't and you're still thinking about it, there's still time. You could still reach that 2020 goal and make yourself feel a lot more confident and a lot better about your accomplishments, because I think that's also, there's a lot of a reward in just knowing you're doing something good for yourself. So really, I think it's if I could describe our school in one word between everything, it's flexibility. It's super flexible. So I think everyone can make it happen with Penn Foster. I really do. I mean, that's what it's designed for.
So true. And to everyone who is in their program right now and really pushing to get done, maybe you could make it a goal to make some really good progress by the end of the year. Or if you haven't started yet, you can still start. You can still enroll in 2020. And then if you make school a really big goal this year, the beginning of 2021, you can make your future career a big goal for 2021 and a big resolution. Mm-hmm. And that's really the end goal, right? Everybody wants to have, you either want to upgrade your career, get a new career, excel in your job. And, if your education is the path that's going to get you there, work on that, focus on that, eyes on the prize, and then you could work on taking that next step. And it's going to feel so good to get that diploma. Mm-hmm. We'll give you a nice shout out on Instagram. That always feels good. And then get started on your career path. And that is going to be so much to look forward to. Totally.
And even, I think a lot of people don't think of necessarily like our high school program as something that's on the path to a career, but it's directly related to your career. I mean, it's so foundational. Then everything after that, builds upon that. So when we do talk about, your career path, and you're someone who's thinking about enrolling in high school, or if you're in high school, like that is the core foundation of everything that comes after. So I think it is really good to think about where education can bring you as far as a career path goes. One thing I could say that this year I did do a lot of was upskilling, and just learning new skills and trying to educate myself for the future, because there's a lot of what ifs in the future, and it's good to just have your arsenal stacked with, what kind of skills can you do? Like, what do you have? Let's say something bad happens. What skills can you fall back on that are even like side skills, like some things that you wanted to learn just for you? I like to have those things stacked. So I will say that, for me, that has been one goal that I did get done this year, or have started, I should say, this year. And it does feel really good. So if you're thinking about that, that's another good thing to, and 2020, it's not over. 6 weeks left. So if that's what you want to do, now is the time, as they say. And Lauren, why do you think it's important to end? Because we are only talking about a 6-week timeline. Why do you think it is so important to end the year on a good note?
I think even if, for some people, 2021 was a okay year. For some, I don't know if I can really say it was an excellent year for anyone, because so much has happened and this has just been a crazy year. But for some people, they made it out okay, making it out okay. This has been a tough year in 2020. And I think when we look back, and maybe right now, it just feels like it's so easy to say. I've seen so many people post online 2020 is a wash. Let's all hope for 2021. Forget 2020. Let's leave it in the past. But when we're going to be in 2021, in 2022, so many years from now, we want to look back on 2020 and still be able to say, you know what? This year was not the best, but at least these things happened that were really good.
Right.
And, think about your future self. If you could accomplish some things with school, with your health, with getting more exercise, drinking more water, building your friendships, taking the time to, call a friend who you haven't talked to in a while. You'll be creating memories through those accomplishments that will only make 2021 feel so much better. 2022 feels so much better. keep your future self in mind, and even your current self. End the year on a good note. Feel good. There's a lot going on, but that doesn't mean that you have to spend every moment worrying or feeling like it doesn't matter. It matters, and you can make it matter. And even if it's just little things like eating better, like Rose said, or whatever it is that you need to do,
taking better
it'll
care of yourself.
make it feel better.
Also, it's like a lot of pressure for 2021, right? Because
Yeah.
we're 2020.
Seriously.
And if we're just letting it be like a wash and we're just saying, you know, this wasn't our year, let's move on to the next, which is good. It's good to have hope, and it's good to look at 2021 that way. But it's a lot of pressure for 2021. If you could jumpstart it in any way possible, especially going into the winter, it's going to be a tough winter. It's going to be better for you all around. So get out your pen and paper or your Google Doc and start making a list of things that you want to accomplish that are totally attainable in 6 weeks with holidays. You'll feel a lot better for it. And I think there's a lot to be said about just a sigh of relief to know you're in motion and you're moving and you're doing good things for yourself, you know, little by little. It's just very important, especially like I've said 100 times, this time of year is tough. And this time of year is going to be tough in a tough year. Don't put all that pressure on 2021. Get a little bit something done for yourself in 2020. There'll be big rewards for you.
And guys, I think you all need to take a minute right now and just feel super proud of yourself, because we're super proud of you. Because if you're here watching us right now, you have made it through this year, and you have made it through everything difficult that has happened this year or in your life. And I bet if you just take a minute, you can think of 1 or 2 things that were really good that you accomplished this year, and take a moment to feel really proud of yourself about passing that really hard exam or starting something that you've been putting off forever. I bet you can think of something, and think about how good it feels to have those accomplishments checked off, and consider those things that are accomplished in the past tense, and how good it'll feel to keep going and keep that motivation going.
I agree. Big time. And we are so proud of you guys. Mm-hmm. We can't say that enough. Our students are like just such amazing gems, because a lot of you guys are working around some pretty exciting schedules and family life and social life and a lot of different things, and you're making it happen and you're making it work. And it's always impressive. We're always impressed. And we're always just so darn proud. Also, if you have any goals that you want to complete by the end of the year, it always helps to share them. So feel free to leave some of your goals for 2020, the next 6 weeks that you want to accomplish, in the comments. Cheer each other on. We're cheering you on. Sometimes when you just tell somebody you have a goal, it just keeps you that much more accountable for it. So, of course, reach out to the student community, talk about your goals, if you're a student, of course. And when you check us out on social, you can share your goals on Instagram or on Twitter or on right here on Facebook. And we're here to root you on, definitely.
Always. Rose, close us out on a good note. Any last words of encouragement or advice for people who really just want to meet their goals or need to get started on meeting their goals this year?
Last minute advice is don't let any kind of mental hangups stop you. I know that sounds like an easy thing, easier said than done, but really try to just almost go into an autopilot mode on some of your goals until those goals until you've created a habit. So just a little bit of, I don't want to say forcing yourself, because that's not really fair, but just, a little bit of waking up in the morning, having that routine, doing something good for yourself, setting out some time that's good for yourself, and then celebrating you and celebrating your small wins. That's all going to snowball, and it's just going to get better and better and better. And you're going to start feeling more confident. You're going to start feeling better. I think it's advice that we could all use. I'm saying this to myself right now as like hey, you're going to do this too. So just remember the little good things that you do for yourself, those are going to spread. So that's going to spread to your family and friends. The better you're feeling about yourself, the more you get done for yourself, the better you treat yourself, the more that emanates out into the world. And we might as well make 2020 as nice as we possibly can. I mean, it's
so
a good,
true.
Any time of this year has been a good time to start just, being kinder to yourself and kinder to the world in turn.
That was really good advice, Rose, and good encouragement. Well, guys, thank you for being so amazing. Thanks for always making us proud. And thanks for joining us today. Make sure you stay engaged with us, of course, on our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You know where to find us, the community, as always. We believe in you. Stick with it. And we'll see you soon.
And keep us up to date on your goals. Let us know.
Yes.
Keep up. We're here for you. Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. See ya.
Next time.